Hi, and welcome to this Cambridge Secondary video on board work. I'm Will, and in this video we're going to look at some of the basic principles of good board work and some ideas and tips for getting the most out of your board. Board work is one of the first things that trainee teachers are taught about, but it's easy to forget the basics when you're in a hurry. Yet having good board work is a really useful tool for classroom management, which will help your students learn better. So here are my top tips for good board work. Tip 1, be organised. The key is to be clear and organised. You can develop your own system, but I like to divide my board into sections like this. The centre of the board is for whatever you're doing during the lesson. So it could be for presenting grammar, recording instructions, or setting up a task. I then use the side section to record any new vocabulary that comes up during the lesson. With younger learners, you might want to have a section for motivation. There are lots of ways of doing this, for example, giving each group of students points for good behaviour, as well as language use or winning games. Marking behaviour as a group rather than individuals means that students are likely to police themselves. For older students, you might want to write up your lesson aims and tick them off as you complete each one. Plan your board layout when you plan your lesson, and make sure you sketch it out in your lesson plan, especially when you're presenting complicated language. It will help you see things from the student's perspective. Try and keep your system consistent for every lesson so your students get used to it. Tip 2, think about your body. When you're writing on the board, don't talk with your back to the students because they might not hear you clearly. Don't spend too long with your back turned. If you have lots to write, either do it before the class or print out sentences and stick them up. Otherwise, students will get bored and their attention will wander. Make sure you stand aside once you're finished so all the students can see. Tip 3, be clear. Use colours that are easy to read, black or blue for writing, and other colours to underline or accentuate only. Try to be consistent with the way you use colour, like here, where I've used red accents to show what can be replaced in the sentence. Make sure your handwriting is clear. Don't join up, and be careful about using capital letters and punctuation correctly. Look at the difference. What would be easiest for your students to read? Don't be afraid to draw pictures, even if you aren't naturally artistic. The simplest stick figure drawings can help illustrate a meaning. Tip 4, new vocab. For key vocabulary, make sure your students know the form and meaning of the word. You can add the form in brackets after the word, like this. You can also show it in a sentence, or show all the different forms. It's also worth marking the stress in the word, like I've done with this dot. Tip 5, give your students time. If you want students to copy down from the board, make sure you give them enough time and check that they've finished before erasing. To save time when there's a lot to copy, encourage students to take a photo of the board with their mobile phone. That's all from me. Thanks for watching, and why not check out our other Cambridge Secondary videos on the Cambridge ELT YouTube channel.